And you also see we've done some throws, some locks, that kind of stuff. There's another thing you need to understand about your karate as well, is that the modern karate, sport karate if you like, 3K karate, is very good at mid to long range kicking and punching against another karate. So we agree to fight, and we're going to be super sharp fighting one another at that distance. If you went back in time with the old masters and went, have a look at this, and threw a hook kick or a roundhouse kick, they go, what the hell is this? They wouldn't recognise it as karate, you know what I mean? Because it was so different from what they did. Then the karate of the katas is the older karate, is the close range civilian self-defense based stuff. Is that okay, you know what I mean? So a guy that's not a practitioner of my own style, so I don't need to get clever and try and fool them or use the training against them with lots of feints and all that kind of stuff. It just gives you solid kind of fundamental skills that we'd use to outfight someone within that context. The great thing about, you know, if you're into all of it, which I am, I like the fact we can do all of it. So in my dojo, they will do guards up, moving around, throwing punches at a distance, you know, throwing kicks from one another. They'll do all of that. So they practice how to outfight another karateka or another martial artist. And then they'll go, right, boom, now we'll do the self-defense based stuff. You know, when we're all really close range fighting as well. The phrase I use is, you know, be a martial artist, not a partial artist. You know what I mean? There's enough time. You know, I've been guilty of making that mistake. In my 30s, that's what I did. Right? I'm only interested in the self-defense stuff, couldn't care less about anything else, that's what I'm doing. Meanwhile, all my instructors were telling me, don't do that, Iain. You know, don't do that, keep your open mind, keep on, no, I only care about this. And at a certain point, I went, I got bored with this. You know, and you realise I was cutting myself off from lots of other enjoyable and beneficial things, you see. So it was a mistake. So now I try and do all of it, but I try and keep everything in its boxes. Is that okay? So if I'm doing a kind of punching on the move combination, I make clear to them that's primarily fighting skills. If I'm starting to throw out roundhouse kicks, it's definitely fighting skills. If I'm doing clever takedowns into clever submissions, it's fighting skills. If I'm doing, here's how you can whack a guy real fast and take out his knee so you can sprint out, it's self-defense based stuff. And most of the self-defense based stuff originates in the katas that we do. Is that alright? So you've got the stances that give you the weight transfer. You've got the angle that tells you where you are relative to your opponent. Then to understand the arm position, you need to understand that old school karate has in it kicking, not just kicking and punching, but also joint locks, trapping, chokes, cranks, all that kind of stuff. Otherwise everything becomes a block, as we talked about earlier, right? It's a block, it's a block, it's a block, it's a block. Is that okay? So, you know, you need to be aware of that. Once, a long time ago, I was training, 1990s, training with Jeff Thompson. And at the end of the session, someone was asking him about the best martial art for self-defense. You know what I mean? So, you know, what would you think would be the best what? And Jeff, you know, well, martial arts really aren't self-defense, they're different things, and you know, if you want self-defense, train for self-defense and that. And then he, you know, for the martial arts, he goes, Jeff would say, probably boxing, because most situations start at arm's length. So if you're really good at punching at arm's length, you'll probably end the fight real quick. But it's not really complete, and that's but you know, probably boxing. You know, boxers would probably do better in self-defense than anyone else. And then the guy goes, well, you know, but what if he grabs you? He goes, well, as a boxer, you've had it, right? But judo's great at that. You know what I mean? So, you know, for the backup grappling, he says, you know, judo's really good for that kind of stand-up grappling, keeping your feet, throws and stuff. It's really good for you. And then this guy, yeah, but that's two martial arts now, right? We've got boxing and judo. So he said, if we're only going to do one, which one would you do? And Jeff went, karate. And that was an answer no one in the room was expecting, right? So he went, karate. And I went, oh, like this. And then he followed it up with this. And I thought, that's exactly the problem. And he went, karate. And he said, the problem with karate is not that the syllabus is lacking. The problem with karate is the syllabus is underused. And as soon as he said it, I went, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Do you know what I mean? So we don't throw like judo guys do, but we're competent throwers, especially if we use loads of strikes in it. And we've got locking, and we've got choking, and we've got strangling. It's a very holistic system. But what tends to happen with most people, they just leave it alone in the kata and never drill it, never do it live, and never develop the skills to actually apply it. But it's there, it's always been there. We just need to kind of bring it forwards a little bit. Okay, this is what I want you to do now. So I want you to pick a movement from a kata. And so if you're with someone of a different style, that's even better, right? Try and pick one, a move that either you don't know, or a movement where you go, I don't know what the applications of this is. Or people have shown me applications, but I've never been completely happy with them. Do You know what I mean? There must be one, you know what I mean? Because nobody knows full applications to every kata in existence. Right? If you're really struggling, I'll come and give you one. Right? You know what I mean? So find a move that you don't know, and then with you and your partner, what I want you to do is I want you to try and analyse it and work out what is that move for. Right? So there's a couple of guidelines. It can't be for outfighting another karateka with oizukis at the distance, because that's not what it was made for. It has to be something relevant to close range self-defense. First thing you look at is the angle, then you look at the stance, then you look at the arm position. Looking at the movement that comes before and after may also help, because it might put it in context for you. Or it could be that's the end of the sequence and this move's got nothing to do with it. The only way you can tell that is by trying it out. Right? When you think this seems okay, maybe we're onto something, is it as per the old masters told us? Is it part of the kata and are we satisfied it would work? Is that okay? So, and you know, I mean, you might not come to a satisfactory answer now, but I just want you to get going on the thought process. Is that okay? And I'm happy to help. But if it's a movement I do know and you don't, I'm not going to tell you what it is until I know you've had a damn good think about it. Is that okay? You know, I want you to try to teach a man the fish thing rather than give him a fish. Is that okay? So based on all the stuff you've done with myself and Lee today, I think you should have a good understanding of some of those ideas. If there's a head-eye kick, you know it should be knee-eye. All that kind of stuff. The stance will be telling you the weight shift and the weight dropping down. Is everyone okay to give that a go?
If you're going to run a Q&A, I think it would be helpful as well to allow people time to think of questions. Don't just spring it on them.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, we'll have a little Q&A at the end if you've got any questions. If you haven't, that's fine. I think you've learned by now, I can fill that time with my... You'll just get another one of my lectures. But just have a little think and I'll come round and help. Is that okay? You know, see what you can come up with. Pick a move that you're not sure of. Yeah. Ideally, what you don't out, I'm going to give you on that is I don't know is always a good answer. You know, so it's quite common, you know, if I'm being seminars and stuff, when I'm teaching to giving kata and in the breaks and stuff, I'll get someone run over and we do this really weird version and I want to know your thoughts on it, watch this. And most of the time I can go, it could be this. You know what I mean? I've got enough experience of decoding kata, I can get there, but sometimes I'll look at it and go, no idea. You know what I mean? I have no idea what that is. You know, and as soon as they've done it for me, I normally say, can I film it? And then it becomes an obsession for 2 months. You know what I mean? Because I need to know the answer. And invariably, I've got it. You know what I mean? At some point, I've kind of worked it out. But sometimes I need to know a bit more about the kata. I need to see different styles. I can't always do it straight away. Is it okay? So if you're analysing your own katas and you reach a point where you think, I'm not sure, I don't know is fine. You know, I'll have students ask me, you know, I don't know. For the katas we teach in the dojo, I've got good applications for every single part of it. Is that okay? There's plenty of other katas that on the periphery, they'll go, what's the meaning of this move here? Don't know. You know what I mean? So, and then the trick is just to keep going away. The way I do it is I've got what I call my bunkai books. So I've got notebooks, which basically one for each of the katas I'm playing on. And if I see a new variation on it, I'll write it down. Or if someone tells me something interesting about it, I'll write it down. I read something about its history, it gets put in there. If I've got an idea, I'll scribble it in. Most of it is things I've crossed out. Yeah, I thought that was rubbish. You know, but eventually you reach a point where you go, yep, I think I've got a good understanding of that kata. And as karateka, that's part of the fun, right? You know what I mean? It's you know, it's nice to kind of feel part of that ongoing living tradition and to have these time capsules of information and to spend time learning from them, decoding them, understanding them. We find that an enjoyable process. It's okay, rather than just like crash bang roll up martial arts. Is that all right?